Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. Sorry about last week. Um, Barb Kresge is here from the Chicago Botanical Gardens, and she's going to talk a little bit about their program because they've got their. Well, go ahead, Barb. Why don't you introduce yourself and what your program is, and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay, so as Karen said, I'm Barb Kresge. I've had a career as an occupational therapist, a lot of years, 35 plus years. For the past 6 years, however, I have been working as a horticultural therapist at the Chicago Botanic Garden. Horticultural therapy is very similar to old school occupational therapy. However, the modality is growing, cultivating, and caring for plant life, and then using products of plant life like fruits and vegetables to create a recipe or flowers to create a flower arrangement. The evidence basis is poor. It's just getting built up. The profession's only existed since 1978. But the evidence we rely on is that there's very good evidence that spending time in nature is predictably stress reducing. And since stress exacerbates every physical or psychological condition, it makes a very nice complementary therapy. Let's see. So our programs at the garden, since we're not a healthcare facility, we partner with healthcare facilities. They will bring a nursing home, a special ed school, a stroke club. We'll bring a group of people to the garden and to our specific part of the garden, which was universally designed to be accessible. And we conduct a program with them designed to help them engage actively with the plants growing there. And really, usually take a cutting home all potted up so that they have an extension of their visit when they go home. In addition to that, we conduct programs at facilities literally all over the Chicago area. We'll travel an hour or more, take all of our supplies in a van, and we'll either do a one-off program, or we also have contracts where we do a pop-up garden at a facility where we bring 12 very large containers, and the plantings are designed to provide a season of interaction with the plants. So, for instance, there'll be plants to make tea, flowers to press and then use for some crafty type project, a salsa garden, a lot of sensory plants to touch, smell, even sound we incorporate. So it's been a remarkable, very interesting way to end my career, and having worked in a whole lot of basements and janitor's closets, it is really lovely to work in a botanic garden. So Karen is organizing a group who will visit in April, right before the conference. And what I'll show that group is I'll tour them through the enabling garden, show the features that have been designed to increase accessibility, and give a little bit of an idea, because you'll be seeing it, a bit better idea of what we do and how we do it.
How do you bring sound?
Karen also,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just was wondering, how do you bring sound in? Do you do like wind chimes?
Sometimes there are plants that have dry pods, or usually it's seed pods that actually make subtle sounds in the wind. But when we talk, and this is the other point I was getting to, So we teach a certificate program in horticultural therapy, and I wrote that to be a hybrid online certificate aimed at people who are already credentialed in social work. We have several social workers now, a chaplain, I've had a neurologist, lots of educators. So they can take this online certificate, but in addition to the online work, they come to the garden for 4 days in June and 4 days in October to get some hands-on experience. And in addition to that certificate program, which takes a full year and earns 12 credit hours, we have a certificate program in healthcare garden design. And that's very strongly evidence-based. There's quite a bit of research about what elements in a garden make them therapeutic, what makes it restful, we do a lot of work with veterans with PTSD, and it's very important that they feel secure and safe. So remarkably, that doesn't mean a solid wall. That means a wall that they can look through and be sure that there's nothing on the other side of the wall. So it's elements like that that you might not know without studying the evidence that can make your garden design work well or not work well. So that is coming up in May. It's an 8-day certificate, but in addition to the 8 days, there's a first day. Day one is a standalone symposium. We have some great world-renowned researchers talking about their latest studies. We have a keynote speaker, usually that's someone with an outstanding or unusual therapeutic garden design, talking about how it came to be and how it's used. And that standalone day is well worth the effort if you have an opportunity to come. It's always very, very interesting. So if you want to sort of get a taste of one of our key speakers, that would be William Sullivan, who works out of the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. He has a great website and a lot of references to the evidence he uses and the research he's doing currently.
Nice.
I'll be sending some of these. I'll send these links to Karen, and she can pass them on.
That sounds wonderful. So how do people use that certification?
We really tried to design it so that it would be sort of an additional tool in the toolbox of these people. I feel strongly that 12 hours of credit does not a therapist make. So I really shied away from that. There are other programs that feel that that is plenty, but we get a lot of people mid or relatively, like in the last quarter of their career, who've maybe used the same techniques for a long time and are looking for something new, or they know from personal experience how relaxing the world of nature and specifically gardening can be for them, and they would like to incorporate something new into their practice.
That makes sense. So, do you find that, I'm wondering if you incorporate it into something new, because it would work perfectly with home modifications, obviously. I'm wondering.
We get a lot of requests, actually, which we are not able to fulfill, but people who have gardened all their life needing to make changes. I do a presentation about gardening as you age, about body mechanics and modifications to make. But there's something to be had in a business where you modify a person's garden so that they can still enjoy something that they love a lot.
When you say you get a lot of requests, are they typically from people from businesses?
No. Well, we do design gardens for for businesses and healthcare facilities. What we don't do is go to residences, and so that is often someone who's had a fall or a stroke. It's often a family member of that person who realizes that they've really lost a key thing that made their life rich, and that was gardening. So they're looking for some way to at least not let all of that go. And we can give suggestions and talk about some tools and some easy fixes, but we don't go out to their homes and make modifications, which I do think there's a possibility of that being a business.
Yeah, yeah. Although I would think things like nursing homes and adult foster care, something like that would be, really where you'd have the biggest demand.
Well, we do that. We do facilities. And our latest one is we consulted on the design of a healing garden that, knock on wood, if their philanthropy department can raise enough money, it will be built on the Rush University campus in the heart of the medical district in Chicago, and that would be a wonderful thing. So
Wow.
we do that kind of design, but we don't do residential.
Sounds like a great I'm excited. I'm just so glad you're doing this. Does anybody else have any questions?
Okay, then I'm going to let you get on with your meeting, and I will be sending those links to Karen probably tomorrow back at the office. And if any of you are going to visit, I look forward to seeing you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Barb.
Sure. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Goodbye.